So Joe Biden took credit for increasing Americans' wages over the weekend, touting what his administration has started calling Bidenomics. Oh, that's catchy. He tweeted out, "Right now, real wages for the average American worker is higher than it was before the pandemic, with lower wage workers seeing the largest gains. That's Bidenomics." I added the wink. He actually didn't wink in the tweet. But unfortunately for him, the fact check says false. According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the per-hour real wage, adjusted for inflation, was $11.15 in March of 2020, jumped to $11.72 in April of 2020, and the real wage per hour in June 2023 was $11.05. Unfortunately, I think Joe Biden maybe was taught that Common Core math, so he's not quite sure how that works. They began trending downward, real wages, in October 2021 before bottoming out at $10.92 per hour in June 2022. Of course, we happened to go through a pandemic, and the trend followed the outline of the inflation crisis, which economists widely blamed on Biden's COVID economic relief package. Joining me now to discuss the absolute state of the economy is my friend, Carol Roth. She is, of course, the recovering investment banker and author of the brand new book, You Will Own Nothing, Your War with a New Financial World Order and How to Fight Back. Carol, my friend, I have to say, I think you win the award for my friend with the best hair. I always look at your hair and I'm like, I'm so jealous of that hair. It's good to see you. What are your thoughts on this latest Bidenomics display?
Well, kind of like the name for my hair, which we call laissez hair, as kind of a nod to laissez-faire economics. Bidenomics is a really cute little package, isn't it? You don't have you can get away from the fact that there's been double-digit inflation, and he took money or oil out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and that everybody's worse off today than they were several years ago because you have a cute name for it, Sarah. I mean, that makes it all better. And so if you just, put a wrapper around it, people don't actually have to, do things like have critical thinking when they go to the grocery store and they see the cost of their groceries, or when they are struggling to pay their regular cost of living.
Yeah, it is. If I find it, I'm like, well, clearly they think we're really stupid, but actually in some cases, maybe some of us are. So it might work with some of the population. But I want to get into your book. So you have this book, You Will Own Nothing. And I noticed the cover. It's a house is crossed out, a car is crossed out, a business is crossed out, stocks is crossed out. Your life is also crossed out. This this doesn't sound optimistic, Carol.
So I think that the plans that we're facing are not optimistic, Sarah. There are a lot of forces that are shifting the global world order. And, this is the call's been coming from inside the House. The United States has been derelict in its duty to make our currency stable, either for the domestic economy or for the world economy. We saw the Biden regime weaponize the U.S. dollar against Russia when they invaded Ukraine and basically freeze access to the reserves. So things are shifting on a global basis, and you have all these different forces who really want to make sure, having seen this happen before, it was the United States, it was Britain before us, it was the Dutch before them. They want to make sure that they come out on top when the stakes finally kind of play out. And so, if you look at the language, they say, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. It's not will own nothing. They don't include themselves in that. So it's really important for us to kind of understand where all these different threats are coming from, whether it is the Fed and the government, whether it's from groups like the World Economic Forum or the UN or even big business. And big tech is such a, important piece of this, that they get their own section and their own category. But we have to be able to fight back. So this is actually a book about a movement and a counter-revolution. Yes, it's a little scary to go through that, but our final chapter gives you that plan to fight back, because the elite wants you to own nothing. But people like myself, and I know you do as well, Sarah, we want you to own everything.
Yes, we are major capitalists here. Okay, so I want to want to ask you about the housing situation right now, because I know, we've got BlackRock coming up, buying up all the land, and I want you to, you will explain in such a more eloquent way than I will. See, I even messed up the word eloquent. You will explain a lot more clearly, I think, to Americans why they should care and why alarm bells should really be going off in their heads about companies like BlackRock going up and buying up all of the housing. Tell us about that.
So when you think of the American dream, Sarah, what is the picture you have in your mind? What is the physical picture?
You own a house.
That's it, right? That's the American dream. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's the largest assets on household balance sheets across the United States. And it sort of doesn't matter on the demographic category or whatnot. And frankly, in a lot of places around the world, the house is a driver of wealth. And so, it is really important to protect that level of ownership, because that's what drives the wealth creation opportunities in the American dream. What we have seen happen based on Federal Reserve policy and government policy that has shifted wealth from Main Street to Wall Street is that they've given Wall Street tons of cheap capital over the years, and that has allowed them to drive up the prices of all different assets. And they ran out of places to invest in at an appropriate risk level in order to generate a return. So they went, oh, what about single family housing? And so this didn't exist before 2010. I mean, it's so staggering. So on the back end of the Great Recession financial crisis, this is what happened, is that you had these corporate investors who are now coming in and competing with you for that house. And they're not buying it to make it nicer and flip it back to you so you have that opportunity to get the wealth creation. They want you to rent the American dream and take that wealth from you and transfer it back to Wall Street. So again, this didn't exist before 2010, which is staggering. And now about 1 in every 5 homes, a little more than that, is being sold to corporate investors who own multiple tens of thousands of these homes. 60 Minutes actually did a piece with one of these investors, Tricon Residential. They're based in Canada. They're publicly traded here in the U.S., but they're not even a U.S.-based company. And they own tens of thousands of single-family homes, and they rent you the American dreams. And so one of the things that I did in this book, because I wanted to take the conspiracy out of this entirely, is I just put it in their words. So I went to their financial filings. Publicly traded companies have things like 10Ks and annual reports that they have to file on a yearly basis. And I just told you what they said. And they said they target the middle class. They target working Americans because those people have jobs and they can pay. And we see this as a golden opportunity, a once in a lifetime asset class, where they're literally taking away the American dream. And if you just think about that, like throughout history, the people who didn't have ownership, who didn't own things, they were unfree, they were unhappy, and in many cases, they lost their lives. So they're trying to make you this indentured servant to the state, and they're trying to get you to buy into it by telling you you'll be happy, and this is for your benefit. It'll be such an easy lifestyle for you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I know that you've done a lot of research for this book. I know you've done a lot of research into just great reset type things that people are like, that's not really going on. That's just a conspiracy. And it's like, it's literally on the WEF website. What are you talking about? It's not a conspiracy. It's actually happening. So I appreciate you so much, Carol. Tell everyone where they can find your book.
Thank you. Well, first of all, you want to get yourself a hard copy because you want to put yourself in the mindset of actually owning things. This way, Sarah, you can't go in and have somebody change the words unless they break into your house with a scissor and a pen. But it's available wherever your fine books are sold. And you want to have this plan to fight back against the elite. So empower yourself with the knowledge and join the movement.
I appreciate you so much, Carol. And I've got a copy. I can't wait to crack it open. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Great to see you.
See you next time.
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.